What's up, YouTube? This is Brandon at the Movies here, bringing you guys another movie review. Today I'm reviewing Rob Zombie's The Devil's Rejects. This came out in 2005, starring Bill Moseley, Sid Haig, Sherry Moon Zombie, Sheriff Whitedale, William Forsythe, Ken Foree, E.J. Daly, Danny Trejo, and a few others. This tells the story of the Firefly family on the run from the cops after their house gets ransacked by Sheriff Rydell, and now they're on the run, and they're hiding out now. Hiding out, and now Sheriff Rydell needs to find a way to capture these criminals once and for all. So this one I saw back in 2005. I just got to see it in the theater. If you guys don't know, this is actually a follow-up. I think most people would know this, but just in case, if there's some new people to Rob Zombie's films, that this is a sequel to House of Thousand Corpses, even though it's its own thing, tonally and stylistically wise. He wanted to make something much more real and grounded. He still has issues. He's talked about he sees a lot of weak points in House and what he could have done better, and just maybe had more time and things like that. There's some things he definitely, which I can totally respect that he acknowledges. I'm a fan of House of Thousand Corpses. It's not one of my top 4. Yeah, it's top number 5, I think, at worst case for me. For my list, I will do a ranking at the end of this review series. But so yeah, I was excited for this. So I got to go see this in the theater. And this is a hell of a this is such a better movie than House. And House is still a good time and has still creepy. It has, the first one is still disturbing and just messed up, and like you won't forget it. Like, I feel like these are movies you just don't forget. But Devil's Rejects does this is more of a character piece of these 3 people you're following that are just terrible people, he makes them interesting and makes them kind of, gives them some human moments, especially with the Tutti Frutti scene, ice cream scene, which is such a, I remember me and my friend just always going Tutti Frutti, Tutti Frutti. Tutti fucking fruity, kind of with the ice creams, like not in your effing future, from Bill Moseley, one of my favorite lines in the movie. And Rob knows how to write those kind of characters, which is really impressive, because I think he does a really good job with writing these kind of characters. The protagonist side, we'll get into that, but I think first and foremost, Bill Moseley as Otis, he is intense. You don't want to fuck around with him. He messes around in terms with he is fucked up, but there's something about him that's just really interesting in the way how he talks, and he puts himself like in terms of just, when he talks to you, and he, there's just something interesting in the dial. Like, he gets some of the best lines, like, "I'm the devil, I'm here to do the devil's work. I want you to speak to your God. I want him to crash down on my fucking head." Like, those are really, like, and he means it. Like, it doesn't sound like natural. It sounds really, like, kind of cool out of his mouth, and just Bill just sells it. And with his look now, instead of being kind of albino, like all white, he has a beard, the long hair. I think he's just really damn good. Really respect to Bill in this movie. Just really good job. With Sid, he feels different from the first one. While he still has his Captain Spaulding moments, he doesn't feel that same way. He plays it completely the same way. He's a bit more serious in tone, obviously, in here. He still has more playful moments with Charlie, played by Ken Foree, in this movie. But he's still really damn good. He is, he made, for a lot of people, Captain Spaulding was the character that, and to be fair, he is probably the most popular character from at least that first movie. I think Bill Moseley carries this one, whereas Captain Spaulding sells you that first one, because Otis is in the house and doing all these things, but I think Captain Spaulding is the one that had the personality, was able to draw you in. So there was something about that Captain Spaulding what did, and the scenes he had in that first one did it for people. But for me, Bill Moseley is the one that carries this, anchors it. But Bill Captain still gets some really good lines, stuff in the house, um, and specifically the one in the car is like, "Kid, don't you like kids or don't you like clowns? Aren't we fucking funny?" Those scenes like that I think is just really 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 damn good. And then Sherry Moon Zombie, I think I really like her as an actress, and even though she's only done Rob's films, so it's hard, outside of one, she's done the Toolbox Massacre remake with Toby Hooper. It was a favor, I think, for I was Rob asked her to do it because it was a favor to Toby, I guess, or something like that. Forget what it was, what I read about that, but she's only acts in Rob's films because I don't think she wanted to be an actress originally. So she'll act for things in Rob's films, but anything else, no, which is pretty cool. Makes it like she's not always going to be, she's not around all the time. Especially for people who are not a big fan of her, but I think that's really cool. Just you get to work with your spouse and stuff like that. Like, and I think she's really good here. I think she's good in a lot of her roles. I think she really gives it her all in doing this stuff, and I think she kills it as a baby. I think she's she's a little more contained in this one, and I do appreciate that because tonally the way your movie is going now, you can't do that same over the top, her in the makeup and stuff like that, and just going like just loud. And then when you get to Three from Hell, it's even more. It's a bit different there, kind of like you'll see. We'll get to there, but but yeah, Baby is just really really entertaining. So I think everyone, all the three main characters we fought, the Firefly family, are really terrific. The performances, just yeah. Leslie Easterbrook, who plays Mother Firefly now instead of Karen Black, I think she does a good job. She plays it again a bit more. She's a bit over the top in terms of, but it's more of a serious, insane, over the top. And the way she plays around with Sheriff Wydell is something. And it just like, and I think she does a really damn good job, having to take over a role that was played by someone else, but in a way that's not that same way Karen Black was playing it. I feel like she really gets to really chew the scenery when she went with her time on screen. I really like that. I know Sheriff Wydell, played by William Forsythe. I mean, this guy, man. It's so interesting to play a protagonist, but he's also an antagonist, and it's hard. It's kind of crazy to think that because he is someone that we should be rooting for and wanting him to fuck these people up. But it's the thing about being a protagonist. Unless you are like, yeah, you have your issues. That's you have to. It's playing that balance sometimes when you're playing like a protagonist that has some like minor issues or like past things, but this one is just like he's straight up like he's really a dick throughout the film, though he's very confident, and from the beginning you're rooting for him to get these guys, but throughout the film you just see how much more he just really just wants to get these guys, and part of it is because of a character that was in the first movie and is related to him, and that really makes him even more like his ego is like, I'm getting these guys, I'm doing whatever I'm going to do. He hires bounty hunters played by one of them played by Danny Trejo, who's also great. And he gets some, and Sheriff Wydell gets some lines. I can't remember the one. And it's in the early beginning of the film, but I think he does a really damn good job to make you want to root for him, but then eventually you're just like, fuck this guy. This guy just, I feel like that's how a lot of people do feel. It's like ultimately you're like, I don't know, like because since you're following these characters more, I think that's why he puts you in a position where you're kind of really rooting for them. No, I wouldn't say rooting for them, but they're he make like you see both you see it's a tough one because I think that's how some people like most people see it. You know, ultimately you're like you're kind of like because this guy is willing to go this far to get to them. It really in a way messes with you. What Rob does with that, he really messes with you because you're because he tries to give you some human moments with this group, even if you shouldn't have those human moments. Whereas then you see, Sheriff Idell just go off the wagon pretty much, and really put you in that position to really know how you feel. And it's just like in the moment with them and Tiny. Oh man, that's and especially what happened. Rest in peace to Matthew McGrovery. Um, he passed away shortly after I think the filming of this movie. The ending of the very end with Freebird, one of the best endings in horror movies. I think in general, I think it's very iconic. I think just the way he uses it is just so great. And obviously, again, like I said, we'll get to Three from Hell, at soon, but yeah, I love that scene. It's something I can just play off. Like it's so good, and just how they're like, and it's done in slow mo, and there's no dialogue, and it's just really okay. One more, getting everyone up. It's like one more, fight. We're not going out like that, and I really do like that. Um, my only my mixed stuff is the protagonist, and mainly the ones in the hotel, because I do sympathize with the two women. I think with the guys like won't play by Lou Temple, and the main guy, the Priscilla Barnes, um, her character's husband in the movie, is he kind of tries to make a move on Baby, even though it's slightly, but it's still kind of like, okay, maybe yeah, you're kind of like, yeah, that's not cool, bro. That's really not cool. Um, Lou Temple, he kind of talks a lot of shit when about the TV, and then once shit gets down, he kind of gets gets scared, and then he tries to have a brave moment against Otis. Even in that in that situation, I will admit and that's where the mixed part of it is because he in that scene he knows what's going to happen, so you have to do something. But still, just the way how he reacted, he was talking so much shit, and then suddenly he just he loses that when he sees Otis and Baby. It's like, yeah, dude, don't talk so much crap. But and then you had the one their friend, the one to be a roadie clown. Don't get a lot of him. I see him a lot of things. I think he's funny, but yeah, he doesn't get much to really to do. And then Danny Trejo and the other guy who plays the bounty hunters, I think they're really good, and what they're given, I think they're entertaining. But I'm in the negative, or the mixed. But yeah, the protagonist stuff and the hotel stuff is probably the more mixed element. I think everything else is like really great, because the stuff with the Firefly family, and then with Sheriff Idell, I'm so in. The hotel stuff, you're with the family, but you're also dealing with hostages, and they're just not as compelling, I would say. If I have to say it, there's a mixed element, but it's something I can I again, it doesn't detract of my love for this movie. But it is something I would say, if there's a weak spot, it's those characters particularly, and mainly it's mainly the guy stuff that I don't have sympathy for the guys. I'll just say that, because they just kind of like, eh. And just small instances of why, why I don't. The biggest negative I would say about this movie is not even the movie itself. It's just the and this is more, it's not a personal thing for me, but this is for a lot of people who are not a fan of sexual content or like, or anything like, or dark humor, like really dark humor stuff like the way that Rob writes. Not for you. Stay away from this. This is not. If you didn't like House of a Thousand Corpses, you're not gonna like this. If you didn't like what he did in Halloween, at least the first one especially, not gonna like this. I don't know. Like, if you just didn't like Rob Zombie stuff, I would not recommend this. The only one I would recommend to you guys is The Munsters, because that is rated PG, so you don't have to deal with any of those kind of the dialogue stuff. Absolutely. That's the only one I would recommend to you guys checking out if you want to see something Rob Zombie that's not hardcore. But everything else, I just, it's a taste thing, and if you're and Rob is one of my favorite filmmakers. I'm gonna be honest, but I do understand that he's not he's not gonna be for everyone, and I definitely see that with the dialogue. Uh, I don't think he's a terrible writer, where most people think he's awful at writing. I think he writes to what he knows and what he writes, but maybe he's not subtle about the way he writes is part of the reason. He just writes to what he feels like, what the story is, he wants the story to be, and sometimes rewrite stuff on the fly too. So that's another thing. But so that, if any negative, that's the big negative stuff. Like I said, some of the mixed and the negatives could go hand in hand, but that's ultimately what I would say about this movie. So in the end, Devil's Rejects is a big step up. It's the best of I think the best of this trilogy that he made with these films, and really great performances. For a movie like this, I think terrific cinematography. It's shot really well. It's just a really, it's intense. It's not for the faint of heart. Outside of the few negative mixed stuff I had, I definitely recommend this. I give this a 4 out of 5. This is 4 out of 5, because some of those mixed things, the mix to negatives, I definitely will take that out of my ranking. But this is definitely a 4 out of 5. If you're a Rob Zombie fan, you'll love this. If you're not, don't bother. But if you're open-minded to give stuff a chance, I would definitely recommend this. So, yeah, what did you guys think of Rob Zombie's The Devil's Rejects? Did you guys love it? Did you guys hate it? Did you guys were meh? You were like, I like something, overall. What did you guys think? Let me know what you guys in the comments down below. This is Brandon at the Movies, signing off. Peace.